It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can all know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us by and by. It's in every one of us to find your heart, open up both your eyes. We can know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us by and by. It's in every one of us. Just remember, it's like I've been sleeping for years. I'm not awake as I can be, but my seeing, it's better. I can see through the tears. I've been realizing that I bought this ticket, and I've been watching only half of the show. Oh, but there is scenery and lights and a cast of thousands who all know what I know, and it's good that it's so. It's in every one of us to be wise. Find your heart, open up, open up, open up. Oh, we can know everything without ever knowing why. It's in every one of us by and by. It's in every one of us by and by.
Well, it's getting harder and harder to find people like that to even work on everything.
And she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, do you not know about loneliness? And Julian, do you not know about disease? And I said, Julian, do you not know about cruelty? I said, Julian, it's too much, it brought me to my knees. But she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, no one does not know about sorrow, and no one does not know about pain. She said, no one does not know about hunger, no one does not know about shame. And she said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, no one does not know about loneliness, and no one does not know about disease. And she said, no one does not know about cruelty. She said, I know, it's too much, it brought me to my knees, where I heard, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. I said, Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. And Julian, you are holy, you are holding my hand. She said, all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And she said, baby girl, do you not know about tenderness? She said, baby girl, do you not know about friends? And she said, baby girl, do you not know about the spirit? She said, baby girl, do you not know it's only love that never ends? And so all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well. And so all will be well, all will be well, all manner of things will be well.
Is that time? Good morning. Welcome to All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Susan Caldwell. I'm the Director of Religious Education here, and we are delighted to have two very honored speakers this morning, Ms. Gale Gucker and Mr. Russell Pease. And Russ came down from Arkansas in person, so we're delighted. You may have seen him on Zoom meetings and congregational meetings. He is still very much an active member of this congregation. And so we're looking forward to some of their stories from the history of our church that's part of our history and our heritage. Welcome. Our minister is the Reverend Barbara Gerald. She is on her summer vacation and study leave, and she has been at the Kerrville Folk Festival pursuing her other profession, which is as singer-songwriter, and I think hopefully enjoying herself. We wish her safe travels on her return. whatever your age, race, sexual orientation, gender identity, your political affiliation, your ethnicity, your background, whatever is the wonderful combination that makes up you, you are welcome. If you care to worship with us, you are welcome here. And in our tradition, we look at the word worship going back to its old English roots, meaning to lift up matters of worth. And our matters of worth here are many and diverse. And we like it that way. As my husband likes to say, that's a feature and not a bug. We like to listen to each other, learn from each other, and hopefully work together to make the world better. I believe our board person of the day, who is James Peck, not Kelly Coffey. It pays to keep reading the Discord after you've found some information out. But I'll let James come and tell us what's going on.
Good morning. We have our giveaway. The plate recipient for this month is North Louisiana Interfaith. I've been involved in Interfaith. Susan's very involved, but we're one of the member organizations, along with a lot of other churches and organizations that do projects and advocate for changes that people need in the community, such as the community lighthouse projects, where there's a place to go during power outages, where you have a week without electricity, and these are like safety centers that are set up. I know we've done work on the industrial tax exemption, opposing that, but it's really also whatever you bring to the table. It's about getting together all the organizations and cooperating to advocate for change, and it's very effective when we all work together. Our volunteer of the month is Tina Hines. Tina does so much for our church. She is a faithful camera operator every Sunday. Anytime we have something in the social hall, she's in there taking care of dishes for us. She works with the plants outside and volunteers almost every time we have our work day here at the church. She does so much, the nominating committee, and I could go on and on. LTA, Louisiana Trans Advocates, at 1:30 every Sunday, I think. Every first Sunday. And it is today. We have our vegan potluck next Sunday, immediately following the service. So bring a vegan dish to share. There will be a documentary, The End of Meat, and there's a $50 cash prize that you could win if you come. So there's that too. Yeah, you got to stay for the documentary to qualify for that. There is a lot of social activities, and I would encourage you to do more than just come to the service on Sunday, but like right after the service, well, after people kind of socialize, they're going to be going out to eat, and that's just about every Sunday. There's a restaurant that a group of folks go to, and everybody's invited to that, so hang around in the lobby area and find out where everybody's going for lunch and meet people, get to know people on a personal level. We have Zoom lunch every Wednesday at noon. Sometimes that's in person, but right now it's on Zoom. The link is in the email and on the website in the announcements. Game night is another big social activity to just come and have fun and socialize with people. It's the third Friday, so this month that would be on the 19th, and that starts at 7 o'clock. My family, Susan's always there, Kelly Coffey, Tina Hines, and and my kids and Phoebe. So there's things for kids to do, there's things for adults to do. It's a fun time. We do a lot of Mexican train, but there are other games as well. So come join us. We would love to have everybody there. We need volunteers for the tech team. It's been on the slide. But as you know, I run sound, then I come down here, then we do choir. I think Jennifer has been doing the slides since 2019, faithfully. 2021, I mentioned Tina does the camera, and Kelly, that's kind of been our crew for like 5 years, but sometimes we go on vacation and things like that, so it would be nice to have some more folks. We are more than willing to train you, so come aboard and we'll show you what to do, and we will not overwork you, we promise. Hey guys, it's getting to be real. This building is just about sold. I mean, we're in closing, just to be real, and we've been through the approval for zoning with the Metropolitan Planning Commission. It is the only step left now is for it to be before the City Council, so we will be closing in July. We don't have a specific date yet, but we'll be moving in July. So we are talking about storage opportunities and starting to get rid of things that we don't need, and we're going to be leaving here. So everybody be on the lookout and listening for the next steps. That's all I have. Thank you.
James.
I like that.
I know. So, y'all helped make this yesterday. I don't know where I'm best for the camera. Last week, when they asked you to write love all around. This jet pig was designed because Maggie Mollisey listened to the kids and put in every design element that they asked for this very jet pig is ready to go. I mean, this jet pig he's ripped, he's ready, I'm sorry, they are ready to go. And anyway, I wanted y'all to see your combined handiwork this year. And thank you, Maggie, and thank you, kids. Okay. Which gives me a chance to light this candle. Well, of course it's going to be uncooperative. Here, come on.
Good morning. I just wanted to say a bit about next week, because the announcement has already been made, but I wanted to say that on behalf of the 20-member All Souls Peace Alliance, I would like to invite you to this delicious vegan luncheon next Sunday, June 14, in the social hall, following our worship service. But before I do, I wanted to, just for a moment, give you a brief preview, understanding of how we came to be. The All Souls Peace Alliance emerged 2 years ago as a result of the Unitarian Universalist Vegan Coalition. Some of you may not know that, but I want you to know that the All Souls Peace Alliance is made up of vegans, vegetarians, some who are neither, because the alliance is not just about food, it's about health, it's about ethics, it's about spirituality, and it's about the environment. Health-wise, we believe that a plant-based diet supports our immune system and so much more. Ethics, we believe those of us who are plant-based do not use or wear any animal products. Spiritually, we believe in non-harmfulness for all sentient beings. It is our belief that all beings want to live and enjoy their families. And for the environment, we support research for climate change, for global warming, for deforestation, for biodiversity, and so much more. So with that background, I want you to please come and join us next Sunday. Bring your friends. If you desire to bring a dish, feel free to do so. If you need a recipe, see me after church, and I'll be able to help you. And so in addition to this delightful food next Sunday, we're going to show a special documentary. It's not about slaughtering animals. It's a scientific research informational movie led by philosophers, activists, scientists sharing their insight about what the future could look like if there was an end to meat. So we hope that you will consider joining us for a delicious, enjoyable afternoon with the documentary and the food, and you might be the lucky winner of this $50 bill. We have flyers in the lobby. Take some home with you, share them with your friends, and come next Sunday. Thank you.
If you will now let us enter into a spirit of worship, relax into the pew, let it hold you. Take a deep breath and let your shoulders drop down from your ears. I know I say that every week, but I'll bet they're kind of always up there, aren't they? Maybe I should say that as an I statement, as my husband would say. But take one more breath. And as you do, feel your shoulders relax, maybe even just a little bit more. And let us be present in worship together. We come together here to remember how we are called, to put our hands and our hearts to sacred work that we did not begin and will not complete, to share in the making and remaking of a story that we weave together, one big enough to hold us all. Bound by this faith that puts love at the center, we celebrate a congregation whose very founding is a love story. When, in the late 1940s, a young Jewish woman and a young Methodist man could find no one to marry them here in Shreveport, they eloped to Boston, where they also visited the American Unitarian Association and brought home literature. And then it was her parents, these people in the picture, Philip and Clara Lieber, who gathered friends, who met in people's homes or in restaurants, who began the work of building this congregation, this community, that in various locations and incarnations over the years came to be known as All Souls Unitarian Church, and ultimately, after our two traditions merged in 1961, as All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church. And so to connecting, to reconnecting, to belonging and becoming, this morning we continue this most human and most holy work. Will someone help me with the first chalice lighting this morning? Thank you, Phoebe and Elizabeth. Jackson, okay, we get it. Today is not the day, all right. We light this chalice to celebrate Unitarian Universalism. This is the church of the open mind. This is the church of the helping hands. This is the church of the loving heart. Together, with mind, hands, and heart, we care for the earth and for each other. This light we kindle is set in the lamp of our history. We inherit this free faith from the brave, gentle, fierce, and outspoken hearts and minds that have come before us. Let us be worthy inheritors of this faith, and through our good works, pass it boldly to a new generation. If you'll rise in body or spirit and join me in the unison affirmation, it's printed in the order of service and also on the screen. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we covenant with each other. Our opening hymn is Amazing Grace, requested by Russell Pease, and we will sing verse 1 and verse 3. And it's 2:05. Oh, you've got the words in. I want to thank James and Bob for helping us.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, we have already come. 'Twas grace that brought us safe thus far, and grace will lead us home.
It's a good choice. Through many dangers, toils, and snares. Yes. You may not know it, or if you knew, maybe you forgot. This chalice, this flaming chalice of ours, has led a life of crime. And I want to tell you that story today. First of all, I want to tell you a little bit about Wade Still Sharp and his wife, Martha. They worked for the Unitarian Service Committee first in Czechoslovakia until they heard they'd been marked for capture by the Nazis and they had to flee Czechoslovakia very quickly. And they set up the Unitarian Service Committee office in Lisbon, Portugal. During their time in Europe, they saved close to 2,000 people, mostly Jewish children, but also intellectuals, scientists, a lot of people that were able to get out of Nazi-occupied Europe. And you should definitely see the movie about them. It's called The Sharps' War. But today I want to tell you about another Unitarian minister who also worked in the Lisbon office of the Unitarian Service Committee. So the year is 1941, and we're in Lisbon, which is a crowded, chaotic little port city in Portugal, a small country just west of Spain on the Iberian Peninsula. In Portugal at this time, and mostly here in Lisbon, are packed tens of thousands of people who are fleeing the Nazis. Many of them have walked here over the mountains. If you've ever seen Casablanca, the movie, who's seen that movie? I really recommend it if you haven't. Okay, so Casablanca was like the waiting room to go to Lisbon, and Lisbon was the waiting room to get out away from Nazi-occupied territory. Anyway, these people, many of them have walked here over the mountains. They're tired, they're hungry, they have no money, they're looking for lost relatives, they're homeless, they're confused, but mostly they are all trying to escape. Most of them are here with no identification papers, either because their papers were taken away or because they had to run away quickly without them. And we've heard stories like that recently, just last week, haven't we? All the refugees are trying to leave on the few ships that are leaving port from time to time. In the middle of this madness, imagine the small, cramped, stuffy office of the Unitarian Service Committee, where Charles Joy is trying to help as many people as he can. The Portuguese are going to start sending people back to the countries from which they came, all of which are now under Nazi occupation. Joy has already helped hundreds escape through elaborate secret networks known only to them, but escape is getting more and more dangerous. He begins creating identity papers for them under the auspices of the Unitarian Service Committee, but he realizes that since the police can't understand the languages on most of the papers, they're letting only those people who have the most official-looking documents get through. And the USC papers are simple documents, and so their people are being turned away at an alarming rate. So Joy is speaking to his coworker, Hans Deutsch, about this problem. Deutsch is an Austrian artist who has come here from Paris, where he had to leave quickly because he drew political cartoons that were critical of Hitler. So not the safest line of work. And he had to abandon everything he owned when the Nazis invaded Paris and flee first to France, then to Spain, finally to Portugal with the help of the USC. He is a man of many skills, and though he never planned on a life of crime, fake documents are now his most sought-after masterpieces. Together, Joy and Deutsch design a hand-drawn certificate. You must remember there were no computers or even any carbon papers, so they had to do everything by hand and make it look official enough to get past the authorities. Now, a noted Jewish scientist, recently escaped from Germany via occupied France, is in the USC office. We needn't know this man's name. It would be too dangerous for all of us. He has family in the United States, but he has no visa or passport, and he can't get out of the country. Deutsch brings in the certificate, hoping to be able to use it to get the scientist a visa, but the three of them realize it still doesn't look impressive enough to get past the Portuguese, and they decide it needs a seal to look official, something to make it look like a bona fide government document. Now, the USC has already been using a chalice symbol that Deutsch created as a kind of unofficial symbol on their trucks that bring relief items to people. So it's something kind of recognized already. And Joy and Deutsch decide that the chalice should be part of the seal. And in the next couple of days, Deutsch creates the official symbol of the USC, the chalice within the circle, to make these documents look official. And that should be on the, yes, it is on the screen. And they put the words Unitarian Service Committee, and they did this by hand. I mean, when you think about doing this and just hoping and praying that this is going to get these people out. He did not have time to ask his bosses at Unitarian headquarters, American Unitarian headquarters in Boston, if it was going to be okay. He just said he would fall on that sword, he would resign if they thought it was presumptuous. And so, go to the next slide with the people trying to board the ship. Joy and the scientists approach the docks, which are incredibly crowded. The shipping company has overbooked, selling many more tickets than they have spaces on the boat. Joy escorts the scientists to the boat, trying to move quickly, flashing his new documents before the police can really get a good look. And just at that moment, when the scientist is boarding the boat, a French couple on the docks who has been kept off the boat begins screaming hysterically that the scientist is taking their place on the ship and his papers are not authentic. The police are getting ready to stop the scientist, and Reverend Joy has to think quickly, knowing that if the Lisbon police get a good look at these papers, the scientist will be detained, most likely returned to occupied France, and eventually killed. Thinking quickly, Joy approaches the French couple, smiling and hoping to reason with them quietly and buy time for his friend. He holds in his hands more documents emblazoned with this USC symbol, and much to his surprise, they take one look at these documents and immediately embrace him. This is certainly going better than he anticipated. The couple explained to him that they have a son in a USC hospital in the small part of France that for now remains free. Joy promises to help them get word from their son and eventually to leave Lisbon. So as the three of them walk away from the docks, he realizes he never got to say goodbye to the Jewish scientist. Still, he takes comfort in knowing that this man is safely aboard the ship. In the end, he will get the French couple's son out of France and the couple themselves out of Portugal. Time passes and they get word from the AUA that the seal was a great idea, and they give Joy free rein to use it however he sees fit. And so the chalice within one circle is adopted as the official symbol of the USC, and eventually it's adopted as the official symbol of Unitarianism, of the American Unitarian Association. Later, when the Unitarians and Universalists merged, the chalice within two circles becomes the official symbol of the Unitarian Universalist Service Committee, and eventually becomes a widely recognized symbol of Unitarian Universalism itself, among the many versions of the chalice still in use today. And you can see the modern UUSC logo right there, still with the chalice and with the two hands. So, as I said, chalice led a life of crime. Sometimes a life of crime can be for a good cause, am I right? Yeah. All right, let's sing the children and the youth to their class. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go. Before I go to the meditation, I wanted to quickly introduce the candle lighting, which I don't always remember to do. After the spoken meditation and a moment of silence, when the music is playing, you're free to come forward and light a candle, whether it's for something you're celebrating or something you're worried about, someone who's on your heart, maybe someone who's passed away. Whatever is on your heart today that you want to light a candle to observe, you may come forward and do that as you wish. A prayer for the people who show up. I've often said that when I'm out in public representing our church, at interfaith meetings, at the Highland Center, at the radio station, I often hear two responses when people hear I'm from All Souls. One is, your church has the most beautiful sanctuary. I love that window. And I understand that. I love it too. I'll miss it. Who wouldn't? But here's the thing I love hearing even more. All Souls, you folks show up. Maybe it was when our minister spoke for the Fairness Ordinance at the City Council. Maybe it was with Interfaith when we fought the wasteful industrial tax exemptions, robbing our schools and public services of much-needed revenue. Maybe it was at the Highland Dinner, feeding people. Or again with Interfaith at the Caddo Commission, winning funds for the community lighthouses that will save lives in power outages. Maybe most recently it was for Palestine and for the children of Gaza, lending our own voices to Jewish Voice for Peace, to Students for Justice in Palestine, to Nita Abubakar and her quest to free her father. Or maybe becoming the first anti-apartheid congregation in the UUA. As I said last week, I see the way you keep showing up for each other too. We talked about the gems in the jar. When someone's born, when someone dies, when someone's ill, or just having a hard day, I see you, you're there. And so to the source and spirit of all life, I lift this prayer of thanks for you, for us, the people who show up, that we may keep showing up wherever we are, and may we carry this promise in our hearts as now we enter the silence.
The beginning is now and will always be. You say you've lost your chance, but fate brought you defeat, but that means nothing. You look so sad. You've been listening to those who say you've missed your chance. There's another train, there always is. Maybe the next one is yours. Get up and climb aboard another train. You feel you're done, there's no such thing. Although you're standing on your own breath is king. The beginning is now. Don't turn around. Regrets of bad mistakes will only drain you. There's another train, there always is. Maybe the next one is yours. Get up and climb aboard another train. We crawl in the dark sometimes and think too much. Then we fill our heads with crazy things that only break our hearts. And I know you've seen what the earth can do when it's dragging down another load of worrisome fools. There's another train, there always is. Maybe the next one is yours. Get up and climb aboard another train. I know it's hard when you feel confused. You can crown yourself with fear, and you feel you cannot move. You're building worlds that don't exist. Imagination plays the worst tricks. There's another train, there always is. Maybe the next one is yours. Get up and climb aboard, there's another train, there always is. Maybe the next one is yours. Get up and climb aboard, there's another train, there always is. Maybe the next one is yours. Get up and climb aboard, there's another train. There's another train, there always is. Maybe the next one is yours. Get up and climb aboard.
I'm really delighted to have our two speakers here this morning. They have been a part of this church much longer than I have, for sure, but I've experienced leadership from both of them. Gale, I know, is board president, and Russ is as being, I know you've been president, but you were at least a member of the board since I've been here. And they've both been really kind of excellent people to work for, as are all of you. But I had put Gale first. I don't know if y'all, is that all right? Are y'all good with that? Please welcome Gale Gucker.
Good morning. My name is Gale Gucker, and I've been a member of this church for 59 years. My spiritual journey started when I was about 12 years old. I was raised Baptist, but my mother's family was very diverse. My mother and two of her brothers were Baptists. One brother was Methodist, two sisters were Seventh-day Adventists, and one sister was Nazarene. Her father belonged to the Church of Christ, and his brother was a Methodist minister. I've always questioned things, and when I was about 12, there was a tenet that I didn't understand. Once saved, always saved, and you can never fall from the grace of God. I asked my religious leaders, how can you know if you're truly saved? They said, only God knows. That didn't make much sense to me, so I stopped going to church for a couple of years, and my parents were okay with that. Then I decided that community was more important than dogma, so I went back and got involved. On Sunday, I went to Sunday school, church, training unions, evening service. Monday night was visitation. Wednesday was youth group and prayer meeting. Thursday night was choir practice. And on Friday, I hung out with some of my church friends. I chose to go to a Baptist college, Baylor University. My plan was to major in religious education, be a youth director in a Baptist church, and marry a Baptist minister. I already had the minister picked out, but he didn't know it. When that didn't work out, I switched to psychology and got a bachelor's and master's degree in psychology. I returned to Shreveport and worked at the Child Guidance Center that later became the Shreveport Mental Health Center. Wanting a broader experience, I moved to Little Rock and worked at the Arkansas State Hospital, where I met my first husband. After 4 months, he moved to Alaska, and 2 months later, I joined him and we got married there. No one at the hospital knew we were dating, so they asked, what will you do if you get there and he's not there? My very wise father said, if a man buys you an expensive plane ticket, you can bet he's going to be there to see what he's getting for his money. Juneau, Alaska was beautiful but very isolated, so we moved back to Shreveport, where we both had jobs as psychologists. I was interested in going to church, and he had attended the Unitarian Church in Little Rock, so we joined All Souls, and I never left. That was 1967. All Souls was located in a beautiful little A-frame building on Shreveport-Barksdale Highway that's now Gamers XP. We had no full-time minister, but we're lucky to have Dr. Edward Murray Clark, head of the English department at Centenary College, and an ordained Presbyterian minister who spoke once, then twice a month for over 20 years. During the 60s and early 70s, the pulpit was filled on alternate Sundays with lay leaders like Irving Zeidman and Arnold Harrington, and the Reverend Hank Barlett, a retired Air Force chaplain and ordained congregational minister. Church leaders at that time included Chester Kelly, Bill Riggs, Randy Mayhew, Russell Pease, Joe Gerner, Ruth Calger, and myself. In January 1975, the Reverend Burton Corley, an ordained Unitarian Universalist minister, became All Souls' first full-time minister. Because we had only 65 members at that time, the UUA provided a substantial subsidy for the first year of his ministry. Our membership grew and the building was full on Sunday mornings. In the early 80s, we suddenly had an opportunity to sell the service station on the corner of our property. Chester Kelly was a realtor at that time and found this lovely wooded area. I was chair of the building committee, which included Helen Pease, Tony Darling, Deborah Roberts, Bill Riggs, Don Crawley, Raghunath Misra, Ron Martin, and Chester Kelly. The design architect was Roy Horover, who designed the UU Church of the River in Memphis, and the local architect was Michael Newman. Their names are on the plaque in the entrance to the sanctuary. We dedicated this building on October the 17th, 1987, almost 39 years ago. That year, we also received the nationally coveted UUA Eugene Pickett Award for Growth. When Burton resigned in 1983 to accept a position at the Church of the River in Memphis, a new search committee was formed, and the church chose Reverend Bart Gould as also second minister. After Bart's departure, Barbara Gerald served as chaplain for 4.5 years. Then the UUA sent an interim minister for a year, Reverend Angie Tyson. Then another search committee worked with the UUA, and the church selected the Reverend Lynn Oglesby as our third settled minister. After she left, we were fortunate to have Barbara Jarrell fill the pulpit again as chaplain for another 4 years until our church ordained her in 2011, and she became our 4th minister. Over the years, I've held every board position at All Souls except treasurer and RE director, which was a board position before, thankfully, Susan Caldwell came along. I was involved at both the district and national level in the 80s and 90s. The Southwest UU district included 5 states. I was on the board and served as secretary of the board 1 term. Board meetings lasted 4 to 5 hours long, which I had to transcribe in the days when there were no computers or word processors or even cell phones. Just a cassette, tape recorder, my Olivetti typewriter, and whiteout. In 1984, the UUA sent me and 3 others to Chicago for 5 days of training for a district response team for sexual misconduct by ministers and lay leaders. I was activated only once when I went with Bob Hill, UUA consultant, to Midland, Texas, to handle a situation there. The first General Assembly I attended was 1980 in Albuquerque. That really gave me a connection with something greater than myself and our church. In 1985, at the Atlanta GA, we sat with 1,400 other UUs in a large church where Martin Luther King had spoken and sang Forward Through the Ages. It was an amazing spiritual experience. In 1987, GA was in Little Rock. I was on the UUA Planning Committee and was in charge of communication for GA attendees. Again, there were no cell phones, just little notes we stuck on a bulletin board. The last GA I attended was in Fort Worth in 1994. Pete Seeger was being ushered past me into the assembly, close enough for me to touch him, but I didn't. Many of our members went on to become active at a higher level. Peter Haslam, active duty in Barksdale, was our treasurer in the 70s. He moved to Santa Barbara, where he became a political science professor and was active at the UU district level there. One of his 2 daughters became a UU minister. Other members of our church entered the UU ministry. Toby Paddock, Mary Catherine Morn, Ann Luck Roberts. A former secretary for our church, Susan Smith, went on not only to become a Unitarian Universalist minister, but the executive director of the district, which is like the bishop. Deborah Roberts was on the committee for appraisal for the UUA, and several members have been on the district board over the years. What was it like in the early days of All Souls? It was a loving community of diverse thinkers who agreed to disagree, who laughed, loved, argued, and worked for the common cause. It was a time when everyone knew everyone, and whoever you sat next to on Sunday morning, it was assumed you were dating. There were work parties, dinners for 8, a monthly social, after-church lunch bunch, and yes, a silent auction. There was an annual financial feast to, again, heatedly discuss the line item budget, and a monthly hand-typed newsletter by Becky Mark, which I could hardly wait to read. There were interesting adult education offerings such as massage and tarot card reading and a program Burton conducted called Exploring Your Total Self. For me, there was always a fresh idea waiting to be explored and a new friendship waiting to be cultivated. Just as we are a diverse group locally, so is there diversity across the states. But we share much in common. We are free to dance to our own music, to pursue our own spiritual path, and to be supported on our journey. As we stand on the shoulders of those who have gone before, so those who come after will stand on our shoulders. Let us stand together so we can support them as they carry the beacon of liberal religion. For wherever we are, there is the church. Thank you.
Good morning.
Morning.
It's good to see some of the old faces that I knew when I lived here and went to this church, and meet some of the new ones that I don't know. And I'm vaguely aware that there's a third category, or if any of you come to and listen to the congregational meetings, I am the disembodied voice on the Zoom who is always asking questions about what's going on. I've learned to hate Zoom, I hate to tell you. So I am Russ Pease. I've been associated with All Souls Unitarian for plus or minus 50 years. I've served this church on many committees, all board positions except RE and vice president. Now, RE director was an elected board position before our wonderful RE director, who has been here for so many years, Susan. I now live in Fayetteville, Arkansas. Now, when Susan asked me to speak on what All Souls has meant to me through the years, it quickly became I quickly became apparent and aware that I could not talk about me without first mentioning my mom and dad, Helen and Alva Pease. Mom's name is on that plaque in the foyer, with others. My early years were spent in the great state of Connecticut. I distinctly remember my mom being our questing spiritual force. I recall, at least in that short period of time, 3 different churches as a kid, and when she didn't find what she was looking for, we'd pack our bags, we'd look somewhere else, we'd go. Mom always searched for the whys beneath the biblical word. Now, in 1960, my dad took a job in Shreveport, Louisiana, right here. We joined a traditional Christian church quickly. My mom continued to ask the why questions until one afternoon, the assistant minister showed up at the house. Now, I was a teenager, I was a kid, and I knew this man. He was also the youth director, but wondered why he was at the house. Well, being a teenager, I went back to my room and disengaged from the conversation. He and Mom stayed in the living room and had their private conversation. What he was saying to her is he informed her that if she persisted with the questions, which she'd been doing for years and years, she probably would be happier in another church home. Guess what? We packed our bags. And at this point, I wish I could tell you how she found All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church in the little A-frame building on Shreveport-Barksdale Highway. Now, I've either forgotten or I never knew. I was a kid, probably wasn't told. Some of the church's original founders were still active at that time, 1960. There, they welcomed the why questions and posed many why questions of their own. Home. Who would you have met if you'd been there at that time? Irv Zeidman, Jerry Malin, Neva Patterson, Pat Patterson, Maureen Grimes, Hardy Eatman, Judge Louis Lyons, Arnold and Mary Harrington, Jim Giral and Shirley Giral, Helen Goss, very active in this community in Shreveport in the early years of integration, Reverend Hank Bartlett, who Gale already mentioned, Austin Drummond, heavy English accent, was English, very interesting man, Atelka Strauss, Dick and Eva Cole, Peter Haslin, Helen and Tom Ray, and others. And I need to tell you, their names are not on a plaque, but their souls are within the walls of this building. They are with us. I was in the teenage group at that time. What did we do? Pizza parties, bowling outings, picnics on the church grounds. And at this point, I wish I could tell you that we teens pondered the deeper meanings of life like good Unitarian kids, but no, we were teens. One story I do have to relate to you from those years, early 60s, big time segregation, Shreveport, Louisiana, like all of the South. The church had invited a Shreveport educator. His name was Alphonse Jackson. He later went on to have an illustrious career in the Louisiana legislature many years from this point I'm talking about. Now, George, he was invited to the Sunday service, and George Dartois, who, if there are any old-timers like me still in this church, he was Commissioner of Public Safety, which was an oxymoron the way he conducted that office. He sent his patrol cars when Alphonse Jackson was at our church talking to us and addressing the congregation. He sent his patrol cars to ride back and forth in front of that church. And what he was doing, Mr. Jackson was black. George was reminding us that we were on thin ice. It was the counterpart to a cross burning. Okay, I need to bring me into this. Where have I been at all this time? Graduation from Byrd High, a degree from Texas Christian University, the U.S. Army in 1968. Could a person have chosen a worse year to go into the United States Army than 1968? Tet offensive, but I did it. Honorable discharge, full-time job with the Louisiana Department of Labor. I stuck around for 33 years and retired. My former wife, Linda Grayson, who was also a member of this congregation, and I were married by a UU minister from Dallas, Texas, in the Little A-Frame Church on Shreveport-Barksdale Highway. Now that marriage ended in divorce, and that's when I turned to All Souls Unitarian Church. I've been aware of it as a kid, of course, but not a member, and disengaged. I turned to All Souls Unitarian Church for comfort, support, insight. The people of All Souls were there for me. Bill Yankee, Joe Gerder, Ernie and Ruth Cowger, Paul Leslie, Marianne Cummings, Buddy Landry, Randy Mayhew, Libby Riggs, John Kelsall, Dr. Hank Stower, Sharon DiCarlo, who was taken from us just a few years ago. Exactly, Susan. So tragically. So what a wonderful woman. I still deal with her loss. Diane Malone, Teresa Mizra, and many, many others. I've got to tell you, their names are not on the plaque, but their souls are within the walls of this building. What did we do during that time? Silent auctions, dinners for 8, painting of the Little A-Frame Church, congregational meetings that were deemed a success if they lasted less than 2 hours, disagreements about the color of the carpet and how much sugar should be in the social hall, a resolution, we need not think alike to love alike. Cutting out a lot of stuff, a lot of years, we finally made the decision to move to Ellaby Road here. Mills McCauley, Susan McCauley, Ron and Eileen Thurston, Electa and Robert Wiley, Marcy Pitkin, Sharon Swanson, Elizabeth Hurley, Pat Capo, Gordon Rice, Becky Ramirez, and many, many others. And you may be ahead of me at this point. Their names are not on a plaque, but their souls are within the walls of this building. Sale of the A-frame. Reverend Carley moves to Memphis. To this day, he and I are close, my brother. Search committee to find a new minister. Looking for land to build the new church. This piece of property, I personally walked this when there wasn't anything on here. It all looked like you see out back here. I walked the gully. I walked what I used to call the swamp that abuts down to the East Ridge Country Club, and probably is still wet down there, down to that ridiculous little triangle that goes out into the woods and back. There was nothing here, but we loved it. It was beautiful. Meetings with realtors, zoning boards, and lawyers, church business, 7 days a week, meetings at all hours, and meetings at all places. George's Grill, You'd find yourself there because something came up we just had to do at 10 o'clock at night. Moving and settling in on Ellaby Road, finally. Sarah and Phil Boswell, Scott and Ginger Lowe, Mike and Marion Avery, John Loggins, Hazel Martin, John and Joy Ratcliffe, Cheryl and Ron Babers-Hager, Cherry Groves, Pat Knox, Lori Lyons, Bob Jordan, Carol Artis, and many others. You know what I'm going to say. Their souls are within the walls of this building, even though their names are not on a plaque. Stability, what's going on when we get here? Stability, growth, huge growth. Gale had reminded me that this congregation actually got an award for the fastest growing congregation in the United States of America at that time. Growth. Unfortunately, Reverend Bart Gould leaves. Interim ministers, financial woes persist. Another committee, and I want to say one huge, enduring plus, a permanent professional RE program is established. Thank you, Susan and Steve Caldwell. It endures to this day. Mom and Dad both passed in 2004. I held their memorial services here in this church at All Souls. Barbara did a beautiful job, and I was overwhelmed as people they knew from the church paid their respects and recounted how much both had meant to them. This was their home. Reverends Carly, Gould, Tyson, Oglesby, and Gerald. With the exception of Reverend Gould, their names are not on a plaque, but their souls are most definitely within the walls of this building. I served my last board position in 2006 and 7. I was member at large with responsibility for personnel. We hired a wonderful church secretary named Laura Barber, and it was my honor to meet frequently, at least once a month, many times more, with Laura, Susan, and Reverend Oglesby. And I thought about cutting this out, but I got to be honest, I got to confess that the Reverend Oglesby often tested my we do not have to think alike to love alike belief. But I'm happy to report, in the end, my better angels did prevail. I moved to Fayetteville in 2008 to be with my family, and I remain an All Souls member. So, you see how this sanctuary contains the souls of those named and the many, 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 many unnamed. Take them with you when you move. You, we have a long and loving legacy as we go forth with the unknown and new challenges. Preserve it, protect it, practice it, and promote it. I thank you so much for inviting me. I love you.
Lots of names, good folks. And Marianne Cummings, by the way, is on her way back from Switzerland, or she would be here. She wanted you to know that. We are going to sing Forward Through the Ages, and I did want to say one thing, though. Russ's mom and dad were some of the first people we met when we came here at the tail end of 1995. And she was so kind. We had 2 young children at the time, and she had circus tickets, and she offered them to me and my family, and it was not only enough for me to go with my kids, but for us to invite 2 neighborhood kids, thus increasing my kids' social capital in their new neighborhood, you know. So I've always been so grateful for that, and just for her wisdom and kindness. She was a great lady. Anyway, we're going to sing Forward Through the Ages. I will encourage you to keep an open mind when you hear the tune. It may be familiar, possibly triggering, I hope not, but sing the words proudly. I think you will agree with them. So please rise in body or spirit.
Forward through the ages in unbroken line, move the faithful spirits at the call divine. Gifts in differing measure, hearts of one accord, manifold the service, one the sure reward. Forward through the ages in unbroken line, move the faithful spirits at the call divine. Wider grows the vision, realm of love and light. For it we must labor till our faith is sight. Prophets have proclaimed it, martyrs testify. Poets sang its glory, heroes for it died. Forward through the ages in unbroken line, move the faithful spirits at the call divine. Not alone we conquer, not alone we fall. In each loss or triumph, lose or triumph fall. Bound by God's far purpose in one living whole, move we on together to the shining goal. Forward through the ages in unbroken line, move the faithful spirits at the call divine.
Thank you, Bob and James, again. And again, thank you, Russ and Gale. As we extinguish our chalice, may we remember the flame of life in all things, the bright center of our planet, the star that lights our world, the flame of commitment from all of the people who've been named and remembered today, and the way that all of those points of brightness connect within us and within all things. May we carry the light. May we share it freely. May we find it everywhere. Amen. Blessed be. Have a wonderful day. We'll figure out where we're going to lunch. Am I right? Yeah? Okay. Thank you.
We are gonna keep moving though our limbs grow tired. We are gonna keep striving toward the light. We are gonna keep choosing to be true to life. We will fall and we will